traditional spaces like the film industry is we have data, fast, real-time data that can tell a story, that can tell you if your stuff is working or not working. You can optimize and know within a day or less that you're doing the right thing. And so I just encourage everybody to embrace data because digital, it's right at your fingertips and it's often quite free. As far as advice to people who manage social media profiles of corporations and their own personal
Yeah, because I've seen those where it's like, all my tweets are mine and not so-and-so's, you know?
Oh, okay. So, well, I was going to say, because there's obviously, I would give advice to anybody who likes to let it all hang out on social media. Think twice, because you put stuff out there and it's out there. Gosh, I mean, we're pretty clear. I mean, with journalism and journalists, I encourage all the writers take part and all the content creators that work with Participant to express their opinions, to go out on Twitter and social media and other forms of social media to sort of express their views and to share the content that they're creating. And then we have to do a good job from a PR perspective as a bigger company to sort of manage the press and manage consumer expectations that not everything said by everyone who works there is the opinion of the company. So we have to manage that delicately, especially when you're dealing with really sensitive issues, but I would never have the will to control the message stop us from perpetuating messages.
Okay. Another audience question. This one's from Renee, from Digital Manager for Buzzword Media. Here we go. How do you play to the strengths of your team's diversity while maintaining a consistent brand voice? This is for the entire panel.
Oh, that's a good one. So I would say, I work with a lot of researchers and doctoral students and stuff like that. And so just even explaining to them how to use Twitter is fun. So what I tell them is, they all have their focuses, right? They've just been in school for 10 years, focused on the same thing. So I just talk about what your interest is and just go for it. And a lot of times they really get into it. And I actually have never had to worry about them saying anything wrong because they spend so much time doing writing the perfect sentence anyways for all the books that they have to write that they write fabulous tweets. They're perfect. The grammar is awesome. So it actually works out really well because, at the end of the day, you want to be published as a researcher, and that works out. On the other hand, when I'm looking at the makerspace folks that tweet, that's a whole other story. They get really emotional, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because they're really invested in these hacker projects they work on, and they get really mad at the government. So I have to be really careful. At the end of the day, though, everyone I work with is it's your voice, and that's actually part of our brand. So it works out.
I'm going to skip this one. I'll come back later. It's really exciting.
So for us, it actually is a question that comes up a lot as a media brand because we sort of see FabFitFun as one FabFitFun voice as one singular entity, and it's changed over the years because at the beginning I was writing all of the content. Now we have wonderful freelancers all over the country who contribute to the site. When it comes to social, we also have a fabulous team who helps write tweets and write Facebook posts, and we still want it to come from the FabFitFun voice. So we have a set of guidelines that we've actually created that sort of outline our vision of what we see as the FabFitFun voice because we see social as an extension of everything we do editorially. That said, now having more people as a part of the team, it has sort of expanded the voice in ways that we would have never imagined, but we actually really enjoy. It's nice to have other people's perspective, and sort of it has allowed us to go in different places that we would have not necessarily gone when it was just me doing everything on my own, and I think that makes for a much more exciting kind of experience. When it comes to their own Twitter handle, I think we're less, we don't have it, I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their own personal stuff. So I think that it's just, if they want to sort of tweak themselves drunk with their cat on their piano, that's totally fine.
I think going back to your comment about being mad at the government and stuff like that, you do need, in a company, you need guidelines because that company exists, it employs a lot of people other than you, and it's not all about you. And if you're communicating on the company's clock, you need to kind of live inside the kind of guidelines that you're talking about that you have for FabFit Fund. Every company should have these, but individuals, when they're not at work, should be able to communicate however they want to communicate. I personally think that things are going to change a lot in the next 2 years about how that feels. I feel really creeped out by it. Like, I just took my kid to see a neurologist, and I was very careful to make sure that they didn't put anything on his record, that would make him seem like he was crazy or something. Because I'm like, I don't know what's going to become of that information going forward, and I'm in a state of sort of acute paranoia about that kind of stuff right now. I think I'll change how I feel about that in the next 2 years. All of us will. But my policy with myself and with people who worked for me over the years as social media came on board was, don't say something that's going to make somebody, question your veracity as a human being. You know what I mean? It's pretty basic. If you really feel that way, then go ahead and do it. You have to live with that. But it's sort of like, you wouldn't holler it across the street to your neighbors. Why would you put it in that space?